holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy.
Good morning. Stand if you are able, if you're caffeinated or not. It's good to see everyone. We are all the good, aren't we? Yeah. Here we go. I cannot do all the good that the world needs, but the world needs all the good that I can do. Woo. I cannot do all the good that the world needs, but the world needs all the good that I can do. Now we're going to sing those same words with a different funky part. Here we go. I cannot do all the good that the world needs, but the world needs all the good I can do. I cannot do all the good that the world needs, but the world needs all the good I can do. Here we go. I cannot do all the good that the world needs, but the world needs all the good that I can do. Now I say, greet your neighbor. Say hi with a handshake or a hug if they want it.
Welcome to CSL Parker. My name is David Howard. I'm the senior minister here, and I am so grateful to have the opportunity to be here and have this time with all of you. So thank you for bringing your love and your energy here today. I have a few things I want to share with you before we get started. I want to remind you that next week, we decided it's the third week of every month, third Sunday of every month, when we're going to do some food. Other than that, we're going to have coffee and water and tea. But if you want to bring anything next week, something to share, please feel free to do that. No obligation, but you're free to do that. Really, anytime you want to bring something to share, that's fine. We're just not going to have a big spread every week. So please feel free to do that. Also, next week is a third Sunday. So we have our women's ministry that will be meeting right after the service, and also the men's ministry will meet right afterwards. So if you have been a part of that, please plan to join. If you'd like to join and you haven't done it before, please come and participate. You're welcome to do that. I want to say a special thank you to Pam, yes for yesterday, for the pet blessing. Thank you for making that happen, and thank you for all who came to have your pets blessed. It was a beautiful day, and it was a fun event. So it was great to be there and great to have some time to spend with some people and get to know people a little bit better. So I enjoyed that as well. I think that's all that I have to say today, but I want to invite Dr. Vern up to share some announcements about some things that he's got going on.
Okay, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
We have two classes coming up. One starts this week. For those that are interested in being facilitators, don't look at me like that. I hope I know what I'm saying. Anyway, so that'll start on Thursday of this week, and that'll be from 10 to noon, and that is on learning the skills. We're going to do two things in this class. One is look and see what consciousness is required to facilitate a class, and then we'll help people design and outline classes for themselves, because some people said, well, it's a great big leap to go from 0 to 100 miles an hour in 5 seconds. So we're going to try to bridge that with this class. And that one is, I don't know what it's even called, something about facilitating, okay? So you can check it out on our website, it's all there. The second class begins November 1st, and this one might appeal to more of you, but it's from the heart, spiritual self-care. And what I know is that we get so involved in the world of form that we forget about our spiritual well-being and our health, our spiritual health. So we're going to do some really 101 work on what do I need to do to maintain and stay healthy spiritually, because that's the groundwork of everything, in my opinion. And within this, one of the members of this community came up to me and twisted my arm about a month ago, and she said, I heard about this great program called No Complaint. So we're going to tie in 3 weeks of no complaint within the class, and each person will get a bracelet like I'm wearing. And if you complain, you either snap yourself with it or you switch wrist if you're the kinder, gentler soul, all right? And that'll be, I tried this, by the way, and you might think it's easy, but it is not. The temptation to complain. The other thing I added to this is no complaining or resisting of life. What I found out for myself is I resist a lot more than I realized. So we're going to work on releasing resistance, because as Reverend David said last week, when we say yes to the universe says yes to us. And it's so profound and so true. So that class is November 1st. It's on Wednesdays, 10 to noon at my house. And if I know the snow season is here, so if it's snowing, we will set it up so we can also accommodate you on Zoom. Okay? All right. Well, I think that's it for me. If you have any questions, I'll be at our Parker Learning Center, CSL Parker Learning Center over here at the table. Thank you, Reverend David.
Thank you. Sounds like great classes. One thing I do want to remind you of, as I do try to do this every Sunday, is that we have practitioners, trained practitioners here who are wearing stoles. If you see someone that's wearing a white stole and you would like to have prayer after service, please just go up to one of them and ask them for prayer. You can go back here in these chairs, and there's also some private spaces in the back that they can hold you in prayer. And it's a very powerful way of affirmative prayer that we practice at CSL. And speaking of practitioners, Luann Hillsdale is here today as our practitioner, and she's going to share a reading with us today.
Good morning. And Hillsdale sounds nice, but it's different. Oh. It's Hillisland.
Hillisland. I'm so sorry.
So today's reading is about unity consciousness. It's a state of consciousness that we enter into when we feel the presence of Spirit, not only in our minds, but also in our hearts. Can you feel this warmth, this energy in your heart center as peace and tranquility fills your mind? In oneness or unity consciousness, we live in the full depth of the present moment, without any desire to think about the past or the future. In this moment, we know that we are completely acceptable as we are. And, here's a big and, so is everyone else. we do not see any problems. There is nothing we need to change or fix. There is no lack and no insufficiency. Everything is perfect as it is. Just as God looked at his creation at the end of the sixth day and said, "It is good." So we look at our lives and know that everything is good and acceptable as it is. Dr. Holmes, our founder, wrote a very powerful affirmation. The light that warms the center of my being so shines forth that all may find guidance and warmth and comfort in its rays. This is the same light that lighteth every single person in this world. And so it is.
I surrender. I trust and I know that as I surrender, I fall into the arms of love. I surrender. I trust and I know it. I trust and I know that as I surrender, I fall into the arms of love. I fall into the arms of love. I surrender. I trust and I know. I trust and I know that as I surrender, I fall into the arms of love.
So I invite you to take a moment and settle in where you are. Close your eyes if that's comfortable for you. Take a conscious breath. Bringing your full attention and awareness into this now moment as you breathe in, breathe out. Allowing yourself as much as possible to surrender to the breath. Allowing that flow of breath to happen easily and effortlessly and naturally as you open and allow. Knowing that in every moment, with every breath, you are being breathed into being. Breathed with the breath of the divine. Knowing that with every heartbeat, you are an impulse in the heart of God, of divine life. And now is the moment. Now is the time. in this safe space where we can simply allow ourselves, as much as we are willing and able, to just let it go, surrender. As we surrender, as we yield to that life, perfect life, letting go of resistance, letting go of our doubts, our fears, our worries, our need to control, our attachments to what has been or what will be, and simply allow Spirit to have its life in this moment, with the breath, with the heartbeat, with every activity of this physical experience. And trust and know that you surrender into the arms of love. And so take this opportunity, if you will, to see yourself embraced and loved. If it helps you to imagine arms of love, the arms of God, the arms of Mother Mary, the arms of the Buddha, the arms of whatever it is that you associate with that divine love, Jesus, feel yourself being surrounded, embraced in love. Filling yourself up with the energy, the vibration of divine love. Feel that love radiating from you as that light that Dr. Holmes talked about, that light that radiates out into the world. Touching those who are experiencing disruption in their lives, conflict, pain, war, illness. That we embrace those we know are mourning today because of loss. And know that love is the power that heals and harmonizes. Love is the power that uplifts. And so as we surrender into the arms of love, we imagine, we know in our hearts right now that each one is embraced in the arms of love. And we feel it, we know it, we claim it, holding them in their mourning, in their grief, in their fear, in their worry, whatever is experienced, whatever is being experienced in their lives. And we are grateful for that knowing, for our willingness to claim it, to see it, to embody it, to share it. And as we take just a short time in silence, I invite you to hold in your heart any person, situation that might be calling to you specifically to hold in the arms of love. And so we release, knowing that it is so, knowing that it is done in our hearts and our minds and in spirit. And as we breathe back into the awareness of this time and space, we affirm our commitment, our surrender, our love by joining together and saying, and so it is.
wrapped up in history. I am more than the skin I am in. I am more. Triumph and dignity make for a mystery. We are more than the skin we are in. We are more. And I will join you there. We all come from somewhere. Eyes that see know all is fair. We all come from somewhere. Come as you are. Come as you are. Every living soul has traveled far. Come as you are. Heartache and tragedy, they're calls that deliver me. I am more than the skin I am in. I am more. I will join you there. We all come from somewhere. Eyes that see know all is fair. We all come from somewhere. Come as you are. Come as you are. Every living soul has traveled far. You can come as you are. Yeah. Ooh. Ooh, and I will join you there. We all come from somewhere, somewhere. Eyes that see know all is fair. We all come from somewhere, from somewhere. Come as you are. Come as you are. You can come as you are. Oh, come as you are.
Thank you. See, we're unplugged today. So today, well, I don't know how many of you might know that CSL has global themes for the year and for the month. Global theme this year is living out loud. And the theme for this month is paradox mindset. Living with paradoxes, learning about paradox and how we live with that. And so that's sort of what we're talking about. Well, it's not sort of what we're talking about. It's kind of what we're talking about this month. And you might be wondering, well, what's that got to do with anything? Because I wondered that too. What's that got to do with our spirituality? What's that got to do? Why are we worried about paradoxes? Why are we worried about these things? Why are we even thinking about these things? And so I got to spend some time with myself, being with that, questioning that, looking at that for myself. And what I realized is that science of mind is a philosophy, and we learn about laws, we learn about universal principles, and learn how to work with universal principles. so that we can live out loud, so that we can live the lives that we really choose to live and want to live. We can live more empowered lives as we understand universal principles. So what I understand about this idea of paradox, and the way I want to approach it is not necessarily using the word paradox, but using the word polarities. So how we understand what polarities are, how we work with polarities, and how polarities are just a part of our lives, whether we really realize that or not, that we all live in that. And so I did a little research on that as well, and there's an author, a teacher, who has been working with polarities for decades, and his name is Barry Johnson. Barry Johnson. Not the same Barry Johnson. Jay has a brother named Barry Johnson. Not him. But Dr. Johnson says, what are polarities? They're independent pairs that need each other over time. They live in us, and we live in them. They exist in every level of systems, from inside our brains to global systems. They are energy systems. They are unavoidable, unsolvable, in that you can't choose one pole as a sustainable solution. They're indestructible and unstoppable. He says they are gifts of nature like gravity and sunshine. So when we understand polarities are something that we may not necessarily be aware of consciously, but there are energy systems that work in us, that work around us, that we live in, and they live in us. And when we can understand how to approach them from that perspective, then what Dr. Johnson also says is that they help us to be able to address more complex issues. And they help us to be more connected with conflict that arises not only outside of us, but within us. And the thing that really struck me is he says they open us, when we understand and we can work with polarities, they open us up to be more loving. To be more loving not only with other people, but more loving with ourselves. When we understand that these things are going on in us. They open us up to less black and white thinking, either or thinking, and more both and thinking. He uses the example, a very simple example of breath. There's in-breath and there's out-breath. Inhaling and exhaling. If you over-focus on one or the other or ignore one or the other, you're not going to live very long, right? They're energy systems that need each other. And when I think about that, I think about it has to be this flow. You breathe in, you breathe out. You breathe in, you breathe out. And as I do that, it's like the infinity symbol, right? Where do these two polarities meet? He also uses the example of rest and play. Not rest and play, but rest and activity. Rest and play could work, but rest and activity. You know, if you focus too much on rest, then you get nothing done. If you focus too much on rest, you could just be a couch potato, watching TV all day or something. If you focus too much on activity, then you burn yourself out. You get tired. You deplete yourself. So what he's saying is that if you focus on one polarity as opposed to the other, then it's not sustainable. And so when we understand it from that, where do we find the energy flow between rest and activity? I also thought about giving and receiving. You know, if we focus too much on giving, we deplete ourselves. If we focus too much on receiving, then we might become greedy or hoarders or whatever. So how can we be in the flow of that? So that's why it is valuable for us to understand that these things are going on in our lives, even though we may not see them as that. But when we can see them as that, we can understand that they're energy systems. One needs the other. And you can't really focus on one at the detriment of the other. Makes sense? So as I thought about that this week, I thought, well, how can I really speak to that from something that we might be working with in our own journeys, in our own lives, something that maybe we're all experiencing. And so I thought of different things, and I've kind of been sort of scattered around that, to be honest with you. And I was talking to Jay this morning, I said, I have no idea what I'm going to talk about today. I'm just going to have to let it go. And this morning I was still feeling scattered, and Luann Hills Land prayed with me this morning, because I was like, how do I talk about this in a way that can be real and meaningful? And what I recognize is that, boy, I was really up in my head. So that's sort of a way to think about it as well, right? Head and heart. The flow between our thinking nature and our feeling nature. The flow between trying to figure it out and letting Spirit move. The flow between trying to be in control and feeling safe, and all of that. Just all of these polarities that we deal with that we may not see. And can we value both? Can we hold both gently? Even that, can I hold myself gently in that polarity of wanting to not stand up here and have nothing to say, not stand up here and make a fool of myself, not stand up here and say something that makes absolutely no sense to you all, and wanting to move from all of that and just be present for Spirit to flow. And so, how can I be in that flow? Yeah. And I'm guessing I'm the only one that ever deals with that. That particular polarity. But what came to me this morning as I was pacing around the building is this idea of loving me and loving you. How can I or anyone be in a place where we honor ourselves, we love ourselves, we're very clear about our desires, clear about our values, clear about what we believe, clear about what we want, clear about what we need. Loving ourselves in that, being clear in that, being grounded in that, and still have space to love another who holds different values and needs and history and desires. And it's easy sometimes for us to see it out there. It can be so clear out there. So clear to me as yesterday I was reading and listening to the conflict that's occurring in Israel right now. And the conflict, the war that has erupted. And what happens when we are so focused only on what I believe, what I value, what I want. And we see somebody who has a different approach or different ideas, different expressions, different religions, different whatever, and we see them not as the flow, we see either or. And what we fear is that if I in any way give up any part or even begin to choose to see you as another expression of God, as another child of God, as someone who truly only wants to be love and to be safe and to have a beautiful life and to have all of that, and we see it differently. If I give up any of that, then I give over my power. I give over to you. In some way, I give up something of me. And so rather than giving up something of me, I go to war with you. What if I can hold on and love myself and know what I want and know what I believe and know what I desire and still be able to connect with you and say, I see you. I see our commonality. I see that we want the same things. I see we both want to be loved. I see that we both want safety. We both want security. We both want to have our lives and live our values and live what we believe is true in our religion and live our practices and do the things that are important to us. And can we find the and in that space? Can I hold dearly to my history, my values, everything that I believe to be true, and still find a place of loving you? And when we see it as either or, we see what happens. Conflict, war, isolation. Yeah. And it happens over and over again. I'm not picking sides here, but look at what happens in our government. I'm so attached to being a Democrat. I'm so attached to being a Republican. I'm so attached to what I think is right, how I think needs to be done. And I'm not willing to give an inch. Because if I do, I'm in effect giving over some power to you. And what happens in that either-or struggle? What if we find the middle way or the third way as we talk about it? What if there is a middle way? What if we recognize what we both truly honor and value? Whatever strategy you might want to employ to achieve safety and security and autonomy and whatever values you hold for this country, can you see that even those who have a different way of achieving that may be holding the very same values? Safety and security and freedom. And can we find a way to hold that while we love ourselves? Love who we are, love our beliefs, love our values, love what we want, and still honor the other. So I talk about that as the things that we can see out here. We don't always see it going on in ourselves. We don't necessarily always see it going on in our personal relationships, but it does. What do we value? I asked Jay this morning if I could share a conversation we had yesterday. He's always willing for me to share, which I appreciate. But how do I love, this is my struggle, and I'll just tell you my struggle. How do I love me? Honor what I value and desire, want, dream. And know that Jay or whoever I'm in relationship with may hold something similar, but maybe a different way of achieving it. Or at the very same time, maybe holding a very different value in the moment. How do you hold yourself? Because here's what happens to me, in me. This is what I want, this is what I need, this is what I'm valuing, and I don't care what you want. Right? Or, oh my gosh, do you want that? Well, let me just go over here and take care of you. Let me meet your needs. Let me give up on me and meet your needs. Anybody ever deal with that? No one ever. Only me. I'm glad to know that. How do we love ourselves enough to find the middle way, the third way? What happens in that space is a deeper connection, a deeper intimacy. Because what I heard was what I wanted, what I was wanting to do this weekend coming up, stimulated some pain for Jay, some disappointment for Jay. And I immediately wanted to say, oh, honey, well, I'll just change everything. Do what you want to do. Is that loving me? Not necessarily, no. So if I focus too much on one or the other, what happens? Over here, boy, does resentment build up pretty quickly. Right? If I'm giving up on me. What happens over here is, and that creates a great separation and distance between. What happens in the middle way? The third way. Tell me more. Tell me what's important to you. Tell me why it's important to you. And I'll share with you why it's important to me. And can we find a way, the third way, rather than these polarities that go on within us? It happens in the world, it happens within us, it happens in our personal relationships. And believe it or not, it can happen in spiritual communities. I know, it's surprising, isn't it? That it can happen in that space. So how do we really love ourselves and our values and how we show up in the world and honor? And then, let me just back up a minute too, is that, again, I was exampling this polarity in relationship. But then if I back it up the polarity was occurring within me. Right? Do I hold my ground and stick with what I want? Do I move over here and take care of Jay? Because what happens if I do that? I get to feel peaceful. Right? So the polarity is within me. And if I focus too much on one or the other, then the conflict occurs here and here. So I want to just remind us or recommend to us that when we can see those things happening within us, that it is valuable to recognize what's happening inside of us. And to find that third way within us where I can be in my space of knowing what's important to me. I can love myself and I can love you. I can make a choice in the third way that holds us both in love. Even if we don't come to a perfect agreement, we can hold each other in love and hold ourselves in love. And it truly does begin there. Holding ourselves in that space of love where we know in our teaching that we are wonderful, perfect, whole, complete expressions of God, don't we? Don't we know that is our ultimate truth? We do know that, right? Say, yes, I know that. And so I want to hold that truth and hold my life experience doesn't always reflect that. And so if I focus too much on, well, I'm just perfect, whole, and complete. I'm just perfect, whole, and complete. I know my truth. That's perfect. Hold that, know that. But if I focus over here on my life experience, and it may not be showing up as perfect, whole, and complete, I can become a victim. I can be in battle with myself, battle with other people. But can I honor that? Can I honor my history, the way I show up, the things that I've experienced, my own pain, my own hurt, my own disappointment? Yeah? It's important. Yes, we are spiritual beings. And guess what? We're having a human experience. And if we only focus on one or the other, it's not sustainable. We don't live out loud. We don't live fully. We don't live completely. It's about finding that third way where I know it in the midst of everything else that's going on in my life. But I don't ignore it. And I honor what all of that brought me to right now. So polarities. It's been an interesting journey for me to learn more about polarities. And we'll continue talking about polarities for the month in different ways. And so I just invite you to be this week to be curious. What polarities might you be working with internally? What polarities might you be working with in your relationships? And what polarities might you see out there? Because it is our opportunity is to see them, to identify them, and rather than choosing the either or, find that third way where they come together, because that's where the energy flows. They're energy systems that need each other, that work together. So let's take a moment, take that in. There's been a lot of words today. So just take a moment and allow yourself to drop into your heart. Feel into that place of love for yourself. Honoring who you are, honoring your humanity, honoring your experience, whatever it happens to be right here and right now. Honoring what you desire. Honoring your hopes and dreams. Honoring your expression, your incarnation. And honoring your divine truth as that perfect, whole, and complete expression of God. And in that middle way, the third way, you find where those intersect, where your divinity informs your humanity and your humanity informs and reveals your divinity. And you honor both. And in that place of honoring who you are and what you are open and receptive and willing to love yourself and also love others. To love those that you might have some disagreements with, different opinions, different perspectives. That you can hold them in love and light, hearing their hearts, seeing their values, honoring their truth. And we choose in this moment to focus in that middle way, the third way, of not focusing too heavily on one side or the other, but knowing that the energy flows in that center space. And we are grateful for our willingness to understand, our seeking to understand, listening to our hearts and opening our hearts to hear the other, connect with each other, and to open to love. That space of love right there at the center of your being. And so again, if there's anyone that you might have been experiencing conflict with, or maybe it's your own internal conflict, your own polarities, breathe that into your heart, breathe them into your heart, and feel the love that resides there, that shines forth there, embracing yourself and embracing the other. And we know that it is in that place where we find true wholeness, where we return to wholeness, reclaim who and what we truly are, and honor who and what all human beings are. So it is in that place that we find the peace and the love and the light. And we are grateful. And together we proclaim it by saying, and so it is. Thank you. So now is the time we want to invite our ushers to prepare to receive the offering gifts this morning. So I invite you, if you're going to share something today, to hold it in your heart, hold it in your hands, bless it with your love and light. If you've shared electronically, share recurringly. We appreciate that, and so bring that to mind and heart as we open ourselves up knowing that it is in the giving that we receive. It is in the giving that we know that we have already received. And we are grateful for the awareness of that flow of light and love through us as our financial good. We know that we give in love, we receive in love, and we are blessed. And so it is.
I've never been good at change. If I'm honest, it's always scared me. But I can't deny the stirring deep inside me. I know it's time to stop resisting. 'Cause I'm not getting any younger. Fear is such a sad way to live a life. So face to the wind, I'm jumping out, I'm walking in every single thing you want to show me. To the ups and downs, the highs and lows, to the taking in and the letting go, to tears and laughter, the great unknown, to the open journey, into faith I go. Into faith I go. Nobody said this would be easy. Anyone who did never went through anything painful. But faith is not some fragile thing you walk through when you wanna go through something hard, but we walk on, whatever may come. To the ups and downs, the highs and lows, to the taking in and the letting go, to tears and laughter, the great unknown, to the open journey, into faith I go. Running like a child in an open field, stepping off the edge, I'm facing all my fears. If this is what it feels like to be born again, I'll be born again. Ooh. So when I feel like giving up, when I feel like throwing it all away, I look back over my shoulder, I can see this goodness in every single step that I am taking. And it beats like a drum, and it rings like a bell, and it sings like a choir, and it's leading me on my way. You lead me on my way, to the ups and downs, the highs and lows, to the taking in and the letting go, to tears and laughter, the great unknown, to this open journey, into faith I go. Into faith I go. Into faith I go. That's Alan on guitar.
Thank you. So I invite you to stand if you're willing and able to do so, and let us all join together as we give thanks and bless this offering. So open your heart, open your mind, and allow that life energy to flow through you. Surrender into the life that lives itself in you, through you, as you. And we are grateful for our willingness to open, to receive, open to give. We know that these are gifts of love. and we receive them in love, and we share them in love, and we know that we are blessed in the giving and receiving. And let's say together, and so it is. Thank you, thank you. I do want to remind you that next week we do have a very special guest here. We have a special service. Rabbi Jamie Arnold from Congregation Beth Evergreen will be our speaker next week, and our wonderful Laura Berman will also be participating in that. They're going to be doing a service together. So I know you'll want to be here for that next week. So have a beautiful week. Let us sing together.
I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I am free. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God.
All right. Free in the Spirit, only here for God. Have a beautiful week.